a harvest of a different kind, and that is the mental load that nobody sees. Next to their dad at the table, but calling for me in the other room to open their snacks. Open in my brain would make a real life computer crash and burn. It would. Hello and welcome back to Holding the Harvest. I am your host, Sarah Esposito. If you are just joining me for the first time, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And for everyone that just listened to my first episode, welcome back. We are on a continuation here. Talk about carrying the mental load in motherhood, marriage, and, in farm life, because that's essentially where I carry it the most. So for starters, I am obviously not the one in the field harvesting blueberries, but I am carrying a harvest of a different kind. And that is the mental load that nobody sees. Typically, my life mental load is being the default parent. And if you're listening to this and you're a mother, you're probably nodding your head because you're essentially the default parent also. It's always, Mom, can I have this? Mom, can I have that? If you know, you know. Because my kids can be sitting next to their dad at the table, but calling for me in the other room to open their snacks. If you can relate, give me a thumbs up because sometimes it's just like, what is going on? What is going on here? It's like you can ask your dad for stuff too. It is not all about me all the time. I mean, I would love it. Now, that's not to say that I don't love that my kids need me and want me. That is not the case at all. I love that. But sometimes like dad can open the goldfish. It's okay. But on a heavier side, the mental load for me is carrying a full-time job that is 40 hours while also handling 3 children and their schedules. So my 2 older ones go to 2 different schools. Their schedules are different, and I'm in charge of drop off, pick up. My husband definitely does pick up more this year now that we have the baby, but pickup is something, managing schedules and meals and appointments and extracurricular activities. I like to keep my kids involved in things. For example, my daughter does t-ball in the spring, my son does soccer in the fall, and I have a skylight calendar for all of our things, and I swear that has helped me so much. But even still, the mental load of all of that, something is usually always being forgotten. And it's very hard, even just to remember to take out dinner sometimes in my house. I take my kids to school, and then when I get home, I'm usually like unloading the baby, getting onto the computer for the day for my job. And then I forget to take out dinner for the night. And you'd think like at working at home and I work in my kitchen that I would remember, but I am needed in so many other areas during the day that dinner gets put on the back burner. And then when my husband comes home, he's like, "What's for dinner?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, dinner. I'm glad you remembered because I forgot. When I was going to take something out, the baby started crying. So I had to go feed him and help him go back to sleep or whatever the case was. Then when I was able to finally get him down, I came out and I had emails to answer for work. So then I'm going on my email and I'm triaging emails. Then I'm like, yeah, wait, dinner. So then I get up, I open the door to the freezer, and my other son is waking up from his nap. And I'm like, okay, wait, I'll come get dinner in a second. Let me go get him. I get him out of his bed. We come back out into the kitchen. Again, I open the fridge to grab a yogurt and I still forget to grab dinner. Like, you can't tell me that I'm the only person that does this. But at 4 o'clock, when he finally gets home, he's like, "So where's dinner? What's for dinner?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea. So that is just like one thing I feel like I can never stay on top of is making sure that we have dinner out at a reasonable time. And dinner is so important to me. It is so important to me to have a home cooked meal with my kids and my husband pretty much every single night. That was instilled in me when I was a child. It was also instilled in my husband when he was a child. So we both grew up having dinner every night with our families, and it has just become very important to us. So on the nights that I do remember to take out dinner, um, we are having those very special moments. But then we have appointments. My kids have doctor's appointments or we have events, and it is a lot to manage and it weighs on me. Like it exhausts me to remember everything. Um, so luckily I have no gray hairs yet, but I'm approaching 30. So I have a feeling it's going to change soon, especially because this is going to be my first blueberry season with three little kids working full time while they're out of school. I do have them set up for camp for a little while, but it's pretty expensive to send my kids 5 days a week to a camp all summer long. So we're gonna stick this one out and keep them home as much as we can. But blueberry season is such a demanding time of year. Like my husband works before the sun rises and he's home after the sun sets. He eats leftovers and then he goes right to bed and he redoes the whole day again. So assistance at that time is very few and far between for me. And that's a life I signed up for. I knew what I was getting into when we got married and when we started having kids. Like I knew what we were getting into. Um, it doesn't mean that it's not something I enjoy, because it can be very hard. So any mom that is also dealing with someone who works a demanding job, a husband who works a demanding job, like a police officer or a firefighter or a doctor, someone who runs their own business, who works very long hours, this is who I'm hoping I reach, because I want you to know that you're not alone in this. And we are also trying, we're just trying. That's what we're doing. We're just trying out here. And I hear you and I feel you, because kids are hard. Kids can be they can be very difficult. They test your every beck and call, and especially having toddlers, I feel like. So um, just know that I'm here for you. And this is an outlet that I'm using now to try to be as therapeutic as I can while getting through the hard mental load of everything. I want to talk a little bit about blueberry season and how it kind of means that there's no family vacations for us, especially during June and July. Those are around the clock hours for my husband. So if we do plan on doing any type of vacation, it's without him. And I've never done that before, but I am doing that this June. I am going away with my in-laws, which will be a really fun time, but it'll be first vacation without him. So that's going to be hard because he's my person, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know how that goes. We do get to go on trips in August, normally towards the end of August. But harvest time is very demanding, and it affects marriage in a way that we don't get to spend much time together. Oh, granted, it is 6 to 8 weeks long, but it's hard. It's hard mentally to, take care of my kids all day and then not even get a chance to wind down with my husband at night. Um, but we do get free blueberries. We get to go to the farm, see him. We get to pick fresh berries. It has its pros and cons, because in the winter he's very slow, so he gets a lot of free time with us in the winter. So the mental load of motherhood, and then I incorporate being a farm wife on top of it. Very, very hard, but very rewarding at the same time. And I know that these days are not always going to last. My kids are going to grow up. They're going to want to explore, venture out. They're going to want to have sleepovers. They're going to not need me as much. So I try to appreciate what season I'm in right now. The next thing I kind of want to discuss is mom guilt. because I feel like mom guilt is something that every single one of us experiences. We can experience that from postpartum all the way up until probably even being grandparents. I feel like there's still mom guilt out there. And working mom guilt is probably what weighs heavier on me than anything. So, you all know I work from home, but I work with my son who is at home. And sometimes I feel like with my job, I don't get to devote enough attention to him that he deserves because my job takes precedence. I have to make money, I have to earn an income. But sometimes I feel like I'm not devoting enough time to my son. And that's something that I feel like a lot of us experience, especially if we do work from home. But then there's moms that work outside of the house. So I'm very grateful that I don't have to do that and that I get to spend all of the time with him and I get to share in memories with him and all of this. So, all of you working moms that go out of the house to work, I give you so much credit. That was the hardest thing I had to do when I had my daughter. So she went into daycare. Well, she went into a family friend watched her for a good 6 months straight. And then once she turned 9 months, I sent her to an in home daycare. And that was very, very hard for me. One, because it was a new house, a new person, new children. She was little, she wasn't walking or talking yet. So I felt like I wasn't going to get relayed information, or I was worried that I wouldn't get relayed information that from her. And plus, just leaving my baby in the care of someone else that's not me or my husband or my mom or my mother in law was so hard for me. And I felt like I couldn't trust anybody. And that was so hard. And I feel like society puts so much pressure on moms to go back to work because, it's like we go back to work. Oh, but now you have to put your baby in daycare. That poor baby has to now go to daycare. So you want me to stay home, and then you're going to judge me for staying home, and you're going to say that I'm making my husband, do all the work while I get to stay at home and be lazy. There's never a happy medium. That's something that throws you into mom guilt too. So what I'm hoping I reach for all of you is that whether you're a working mom or not, your child is always going to be your number one. And don't let society tell you otherwise or try to steer you in the direction of, well, you need to do this because your baby's only going to be small once. You should stay home with them. Oh, but like you're not going to have the funds to do this because you're staying home with your baby. And it's like, mind your own business. That's what I want to tell everybody is just mind your own business. Another mom guilt thing that I've realized as my kids are getting older is my daughter is very into coloring. She's very into playing games with my husband and I. And she always likes to color or play games with us after dinner. And for me, after dinner is the time when I need to clean my house, or clean my kitchen, because that's after dinner, reset my house, and prepare for the next day. So making school lunches, or, changing laundry over, whatever the case is. And I feel so bad when she wants to color and I'm like, but I have to clean the kitchen. Like if I don't clean the kitchen, my mentality is not going to be right. But then I'm like, she's not in 10 years going to want to sit down and color with me. She's probably going to go eat dinner and then go right to bed or go right to her room. So that's another mom guilt that I am working with right now. And I'm trying to learn to let the dishes sit in the sink for a little while longer if it means my kids are getting a night of laughter or just freedom, one-on-one time, intentional one-on-one time. I try not to regret leaving the mess in there because my kids are only going to be small one time, but it can get hard. It can get very hard. So anyone that's also dealing with that, you're also not alone because we, as moms, we are in charge of making sure that the house is in order. And, when dishes are piling up in the sink, that to me like makes my heart palpitate. That is one thing I don't like to see is dishes in my sink makes my heart palpitate. I'll just leave that one right there for you. But things that I've tried but not mastered letting go of is definitely letting go of perfection, because perfection is never going to happen in motherhood. You're never going to be a perfect mom, but you're going to always have great attributes of being a wonderful mom or a great mom. The house is not always going to be clean 24/7. Learn that real quick once my kids started moving around the house. No furniture is nice in my house anymore. I bought this really nice furniture from Ashley when we first moved into our house, and there are scratches all over it. Magnetiles basically live on it. So that is another thing I've learned is just let go of the really nice furniture that you probably buy. And then another thing that I try and I definitely succeed on is having one person who gets it. I vent and put a lot of my, my venting and, what's the word? Like my emotions, I guess you could say, to my best friend, Summer. She is also a blueberry farmer's wife. She has 3 little kids. She runs her household, likes a clean kitchen. She has a big emotional, mental load, just like all of us. And I suggest finding at least one person in your life who can understand what you're going through. I am all about supporting any mom who is in any journey. And it's taxing. It's taxing, but it's a beautiful thing. I could also sit here and probably say that the best way to explain the mental load and emotional load a mom holds is the amount of tabs that are open in my brain would make a real life computer crash and burn. It would crash and burn. And that, that's all you need to know. And I know you all understand it. I know you all understand it. You live it. And what I'm really excited about bringing on in this podcast is moms that are in a different era, moms that are past the toddler stage, moms that have moved to adolescence and even young adulthood, because that's a whole another chapter that I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine thinking that my kids are going to eventually be like 13, 14, 15. I can't even think about it. I try to put myself in the position that right now I have the most control as a mom. I know where my kids are at all times. I can control who they are with, what they're doing, where they are. When they turn, 8, 10, 11, 12, they want to venture out, you lose your control a little bit. And I am not ready for that. So I'm really interested to talk to moms who are in those stages and beyond to see how they did it and how they navigated those times. I have guests lined up for that. So stick around. You're going to want to hear more about that, especially if you're a mom who is kind of in the same boat as me. My kids, again, are 5, 3, and almost 8 months now. So I think this is definitely going to be really cool for everyone. I hope that you are all really interested and that I am getting to reach you, because that's what I want to do. I'm a mom who is feeling stuck. I'm feeling stuck, and I knew diving into this would be something that is, one, therapeutic for me because I get to talk and I love to talk. 2, I get to express my emotions, the good and the bad of motherhood, because there are hard times in momhood and there's full beautiful times. So I'm really excited for this, and I really hope you are too. So with that being said, that concludes the second episode of Holding the Harvest. I hope that I have reached you all. And for anyone who is just joining me, please like, subscribe, and follow my pages on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and we are at Holding the Harvest. Um, so yeah, join me next Thursday, and we're going to talk about farm wife life. It's all going to be about farming, not exactly farming, but farming wife life. So I hope you all have a great day, and that's all. Have a good one. See ya.